Whew. Good afternoon. Oh, let me adjust this tripod so I can stand up. Every day, I've been trying to do this. I'm questioning, like, how the hell is it 2 o'clock right now? Anywho, it's 2 o'clock and we are live. Um, Connection's probably not going to cooperate because YouTube just doesn't want to let me be great. So let me be fast and show y'all what I've done today. Spin. Okay, so I have 2 new grow rows that I put in today. And so far, I've put in 3 of 7 fruit trees that I want to get in the ground this week. So this is an apple. This is a little apple right here. This is a pear. I think I told y'all I noticed my pears are starting to bud. And I prefer to plant my trees when they're dormant. So before they wake up from hibernation. So I was really pushing it there. But that one's in the ground. That's a pear. And then I have another pear I'm putting in the ground on this end. And then I'm just going to get this row broad forked and flipped and then plant I have 2 more apple trees I want to put in this row. And then I'll show you a view from here. This is the pathway between the 2 rows. And then it leads to the first grow area that I finished last month. So then I can just walk straight through, just to give you perspective of like where we are. You pull in here, that's my car. My car is always parked there. There's going to be a gate here. Use your imagination. And then you come into the actual farm site. And then back there is where my shipping container and stuff is. And as I've said before, I have intentions on clearing more back here and more over here. So where the shipping container is will actually be more like the middle of the farm, because I have 5 acres, but I'm currently growing on like a 1/4 acre. Okay, so I also wanted to explain. I posted a short yesterday of me broad forking. If you're not familiar with broad forking, it's basically a no-till tool. So if you don't want, I'm walking towards it so you can see it. If you don't want to use a tilling machine and want to be a little bit more gentle on the land, you get a broad fork. They are not cheap, but they are totally worth it. I questioned it for a long time, but I don't even know how I would do any of this without this tool, because I don't want to use big machinery. I also don't have big machinery, nor do I want to pay for big machinery. So I have a broad fork, and this is what I use to break new ground whenever I'm growing in ground. So I broad fork the row, right? And then I flip the bed, which literally just means I flip it over. So I dig it up. I'll show you. Let's see. I dig it up and I just flip it over. You see this big weed patch? This was on the top. I just flip it over and lay it on the soil like this. So then the vegetation that's on the bottom is going to break down and feed my soil. And then all of nature's elements, the sun, the wind, in my case, in the next couple of days, the frost is going to zap all these roots to help me reduce my weed pressure in these beds. Because you can see everything that's on top of this bed is everything that was underneath here. I'm not fighting like cute little ornamental grasses that you could just use a little trimmer and keep it manicured. I'm fighting small trees, shrubs, rhizome, wild plants. Like, you can't, this is like, the more you cut it, the more it just keeps growing. So these need to be managed from the root. And so I dug up as much of the root as possible. I'm going to take advantage of these weird next couple of frost days I have ahead of me. And I'm going to let the frost hit all these roots and kill them. And then a couple days later, it's going to be like in the 70s. And then these are going to get zapped by the sun. Also, killing them, hopefully. So between the sun and the cold and the heat, I believe I'm going to be able to have a significant reduction in my wild plants or weeds that come through here. Will I still have weeds? Yep, for sure. Even if I was a maniac and I sprayed insecticide all over where I'm going to grow and eat, I would still have weeds. So there's no way to eliminate unwanted plants in your grow rows, but this should help me have significantly less. And if anything, maybe what I'll have here are cute little things that I can just, kind of pull it with my hands or whatever as they pop up like normal. Maybe I won't have rhizome roots and prickly brambles and trees and stuff. So look, like literally, this is what was under here. So yeah, so this is what I'm doing. I finished 2 rows. Like I said, I have one more to do. Normally my process is, this is an old billboard vinyl. Like when they advertise on the side of the road, the big giant billboards. I buy recycled or used billboards, and then I use them to silage tarp my ground. So I usually like to cover the ground for at least 1 month, but I'd prefer like a whole season. Like 3 months would be my preference. But I don't have that kind of time in this situation because I'm trying to get my farm productive like next season. So I don't have 3 months. So this silage tarp has been silage tarp. I don't know. I can't speak English right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Smothering tarp has been on this section for a month now. And I'm gonna pull this up, and I want to, you see this area right here? This is what the whole farm looked like, but probably worse actually, because this has been cut down a little bit and winter like took it down. But this area over here is what this looked like. I had to cut it all down, pull it all up, yada yada yada. And I've slowly been working my way over through the farm. And then this is the last section that I have to brush clear, dig up the trees, whew, all the things. I'm not sure if that's going to happen before summer. I would love for it to happen, but my goal was to get at least 3 more rows over here. I think that will be enough for me to produce what I would like to produce for the summer season. So I believe I'm going to accomplish that in this task, or in this trip. And then this, I really want to get it done because that's a lot of growing space right here. So I'm going to push and try, but I'm focused right now. I'm just going to try to finish these 3 rows and get my fruit trees in the ground. And then I will worry about this for another trip. That's a future Letitia problem. So progress is happening, right? It's a lot for sure. But I was thinking, y'all, the thing I keep telling myself is this is a lot of work. Yes, it's me. Yes, I own this land. Own this land. I think that sounds, it's just terrible. But yes, I own this land. But really, like, I'm doing all of this for my community, not just for myself. Like, if you hear me talking, I don't talk a lot about like self-sufficiency because I don't really believe in that as much as I believe in self-reliance. So I want to be able to produce as much as I can for myself so I can be less dependent on outside factors and more dependent on myself. But I recognize that I'm never going to be able to provide 100% of all of my needs. And therefore, I need some outside help. And that's where community comes in for me. And so this farm, I'm building it for me, for my benefit. But I recognize that it's also going to benefit my community, right? Like, because really, like, how self secure or how food secure would I be if all the people around me are starving or not having enough food or whatever? Like, I don't feel very secure if everyone around me is hungry. So I'm kind of looking at this like a community project, even though I'm the only one out here doing it. But we don't think about that. And also no one paid for it, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, y'all, like, money, it just, yes, we need it. Yes, it matters, but they can print some more. Your community, the people that matter, the people you can work together with, and you guys can support each other and share resources. Like, that's what's gonna make you feel more secure in your food security, as well as just your overall security and your freedom. So I think for me, the focus is on community, which, the way I see it, it doesn't mean that or this is what I keep telling myself, because this is where I struggled in the beginning. It doesn't mean that I have to open my farm or my land to my whole community or like it's like a community garden or a neighborhood park. It doesn't mean open access necessarily, but it means me owning and operating and building this farm benefits my community. So that could look like them getting food that I'm growing. That could look like them having access to plants that I'm growing, honey, information. It's a sharing of resources. It's them benefiting from the fact that I'm building this for us to be stronger, to be more resilient. And so I think that has helped me with this idea of community, because I think people talk about community so often, and like community, what are they? Community land trusts and community farms and community gardens. And these are all beautiful. But I also struggle with this because, you know what I'm saying? My people live through a lot of things. And so ownership has been like drilled into me as very important. So it was important to me to own a piece of land that was mine. But I also still want to be community focused and community centered. So for me, it has helped to think that community means my community benefits from having access and accessibility and proximity and all the things to my farm, but not necessarily that we have to share this space and it's an open farm. So hopefully that helps somebody else who might be questioning how they can benefit their community, but they still want to like maintain their privacy, because privacy is important. It's 2026, y'all. These fools are crazy, but you can still benefit your community. So something to think about, something I'm always thinking about. That's me taking a breath probably for the first time today. I couldn't even sleep. I was just up like thinking of everything that I had to do. Like, how am I going to get it all done? Is this realistic? Which I don't even know why I think about that. Girl, you already know the answer is no. It's probably not realistic because none of my goals are ever realistic. But she's getting it done. So I'm going to get back to work now. I do just want to remind you, as always, you can't grow all the food that the people need, but the people need all the food that you can grow. Drop some seeds, y'all. Do what you can. Remember to include your community in what you're thinking about and how you're building something. And I think it was Charlemagne who said, if the idea only benefits me, it's not big enough. I think that's how I'm good for messing up quotes, but it's something like that. Think bigger. Think bigger. We can do this. We can do this together. All right. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I will be going live tomorrow because tomorrow's my last day of like cold temps. So I got to get all this done so that I can benefit from all of nature's wildness. So I'll be live tomorrow again at 2 p.m. Hope to see you there. Have a beautiful rest of your day. See y'all later. Bye.